Is it?
Yes.
Wow, that's nice of you to say. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here. It's my third ever San Diego.
Wow, casual. Ram V, welcome back to the Popverse. Happy San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, happy San Diego to you too, and pleasure to be here.
How has it been? You're the king of all the announcements. Your exclusive is the top thing right now.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow, that's nice of you to say. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here. It's my third ever San Diego.
Wow, casual.
Yeah, and it's really cool to, first time I came here, I had no books out, one or two things, and it's nice to be announcing an exclusive at DC at this one, and having people talk about it feels great.
Can you tease any Detective Comics or Vigil readers about what they can maybe look forward to in coming issues?
Yeah, I mean, we already announced Batman Outlaw,
yes.
which comes out, I think, towards the end of the year. It's kind of a Sergio Leone spaghetti western mixed with the gothic opera that we've been doing so far. It has some repercussions for Gotham, some big repercussions for Batman. And who doesn't love a story about some 6 or 7 ne'er-do-wells getting together to rescue someone? So yeah, it's that kind of a story. I'm very excited to be working with Jason Sean Alexander on the art, whose work is amazing. So that's what's coming on Detective. With Vigil, I think the next issue has some big revelations that completely reframes all that you thought was true about the Vigil for the first 3 issues.
Okay.
So I'm kind of excited for people to see that. And then obviously with the exclusive kicking in, I'm in conversations to do a few very cool things coming up, which I cannot talk about, but yeah.
I'm imagining, since the exclusive has been signed, you just with your fingers and all of the pies, trying to touch everything in the DC universe.
Some of it, but also like, my endeavor has been to take on some unusual characters and some unusual titles here and there, so I'm glad I'm getting to do some of that. And also, even with the sort of more mainstream popular stuff, I'd love to be able to take on some of the characters, some of the series that haven't been around for a while, and go like, hey, look, we're starting this again. So yeah, I think you'll see a few things in that vein from me going forward. Yeah.
So just because you evoked Sergio Leone earlier when we were talking about like Detective Comics, who would score that run? Like, what would the soundtrack to that be? Because when I think of Sergio Leone, I think of The Ecstasy of Gold and all those incredible soundtracks.
I've been literally scripting to The Ecstasy of Gold, so of course it has to be Ennio.
Yes.
But sadly, I can't get Ennio to actually make music for my comics. I'm a big fan of the Morricone soundtrack, but also generally a big fan of that genre and what you can do with it. Because it's amazing, you can write a Batman comic without having people in cowboy hats and spurred shoes, but you can still evoke all of those sensibilities. So hopefully people hear in their minds the Ecstasy of Gold playing as they watch this storyline unfold.
That's homework for everyone. You go make a Spotify soundtrack with all of the Ennio Morricone.
I will gladly put out a recommended Spotify soundtrack.
You should. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I scoured your Twitter and I have 20 this or that questions for you.
Okay.
I want the first answer off the top of your head.
Okay.
Detective Comics or Action Comics?
Detective.
Detective Comics or Batman?
Batman.
Detective Comics or The Vigil? Choose between your children.
That's rough. No, I don't choose between my children. I will juggle them both.
The Bat Family or the Al Ghouls?
Aren't the Al Ghouls also in some ways Bat Family?
Yeah, that's a good answer. Catwoman or Talia?
I'm not getting into that. Where's the exit?
Batman or Robin?
Batman.
Batman or Aquaman?
Both?
Aquaman or Namor?
Aquaman.
That's correct. San Diego Comic-Con or staying home?
Eating and drinking by the bayfront at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes. Yes. Writing or drawing, because you are a prolific sketch artist as well.
Yes. I can't do one without the other.
Fair, very fair. Superhero stories or heist stories?
Heist stories?
Writing to Tool or writing to Taylor Swift?
Writing to Tool.
Yeah, I loved that tweet.
No offense, Taylor Swift.
English or français?
English.
North America or Europe?
Europe.
New York or Chicago?
New York, because I lived there. I do like Chicago.
Everything bagels or plain bagels?
Everything bagels.
Yes. Real demons or psychological demons?
What's the difference?
Ooh, that's a good answer. Digital or physical comics?
Physical.
And then lastly but not leastly, Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Twitter, good answer. Also, bold answer in these times.
It's okay. I use both as a broadcast, and it only tells that I enjoy using words more than I enjoy using pictures. So.
Thank you for playing that game with us. I also want to ask, you have so many incredible artists who are working with you. So what is your workflow like, and is it different with all of your collaborators?
Yeah, I think it has to be. I was actually talking about this yesterday with a few artists.
Say their names.
Well, no, I was at a big table, bunch of writers and artists around, and I was saying it's almost like you have to build a relationship to where you understand your collaborator on a deeper human level, and so you can almost predict what their reaction is going to be to something you put in the script. So sometimes you put something mundane in the script knowing that your artist is not going to like to do something mundane, and so they will do something cool with it. Ooh. Or you sometimes put a ton of description in your script and then say, but yeah, ignore all that and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Knowing that your artist will absolutely take that on board. So yeah, it depends on who you're working with, and it's all the more reason to be friends with the people that you're actually collaborating with. Yeah.
Do you find that you do more full script or more description on an established character, or on something like the Vigil or your creator own work where you have a little bit more autonomy and control?
No, I feel like I do a lot of prescriptive scripting very early on in the run, because I feel like it's like any conversation, right? You need an icebreaker. So the prescriptive scripting is almost like an icebreaker, but once you have a language that you've established with your collaborator, you don't need that anymore.
Interesting. For anybody who's watching who wants to write and create and be a globetrotter like yourself, I clearly loved your adventures in England and France recently.
Right.
What is your best piece of advice to them?
Well, the globetrotting is just part of me. I've been traveling. Like I literally, as I was clearing through immigration here in the States, I looked at my passport and they said, "Oh, you've been around, haven't you?" Like, yeah, I have. I love traveling, and I think it informs my writing quite a bit. But the advice for anyone who wants to write is, all you need is pen and paper. Sit down and write, and live your life, and tell stories that only you could tell because you've the experiences that you need to tell that story. Even if you're telling stories about alien invasions and superheroes.
You just have to find your in to that time you were in an alien invasion.
Yeah, fundamentally every story is about you or the reader in some way. And so no matter how much dressing you put on top of it, it has to be a fundamentally human story at that point. Yeah.
So because you're talking about like every story is your story in some way, is there a character that you've written that you identify with the most, or maybe it's the easiest to slip your voice into?
I mean, to be honest, all of them are they have pieces of me. Like,
this is why you got the DC exclusive. You're good at everything.
I mean, when I'm writing Batman and Detective, like I'm 42, and 10 years ago I was 32 and I felt invincible, and suddenly at 42 I don't feel that invincible anymore, and that translates into writing a Batman who doesn't feel so invincible anymore. Saya in The Vigil, I've traveled so much, I don't really know that I identify as someone who feels very Indian or feels American or feels British. And so what's it like to have no identity, no face? And I'm using some of that into developing that character. So that's what I mean. I think there's a piece of writing advice that's very misunderstood when people say write what you know.
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, you know what it's like to be 42 and not be 32 anymore. Use that. You know what it's like to be from different places. Use that. And I think that is what that advice is meant to say. And yeah, I think if more people did that, we'd end up with stories that felt closer to the heart in a lot of ways.
So we're not getting a Batman story where he's being interviewed at the top of the DC booth at San Diego Comic-Con?
We could. Someone wants to commission that one. Yeah.
My final question, because in the Popverse, we love to celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics. What are you geeking out about right now that you are not working on? So probably no Batman.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of Path of Exile right now.
Oh my gosh.
And Path of Exile 2 comes out soon. Very excited about that. If people look at my scripting schedules, every time there's a new league that starts, I'm like, I'm out for a week. Don't call me. Don't ask me to turn in stuff because I'm going to be playing Path of Exile. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here at San Diego Comic-Con.
My pleasure.